Baruch, good morning, Botai. A question that very often comes up when people are moving is that what happens if a person has very nice mezuzot, hodarim, and he wants to take them with him? We're going to speak about in a moment that sometimes is not a good idea, but what should a person do if he really invested a lot of money into his mezuzot and now has to move? There's a Gemara in Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Kuf Bet. The Gemara says that if a person's a renter, the obligation to put up a mezuzah is on the renter and not on the landlord. And when a person moves, says the Gemara, he must leave the mezuzot in place and not take them with him. And the Gemara says that there was a story with an individual who, when he moved, he took his mezuzot with him, and that year he buried his wife and his 2 children. That's the Gemara. The Nimukei Yosef on this Gemara explains in the name of the Ritba that the reason for this is because when a person, the mezuzot, allow the Shekhinah to rest on the house, and when a person removes the mezuzot, the Shekhinah leaves the home as well. The Ritba, in his commentary on this Gemara in Bava Metzia, elaborates on this a little bit further, and he says it's midah keneged midah, it's measure for measure. He says when a person removes the mezuzot, he removes the protection from the house, and now as a result, the next tenants that are going to move in now are going to be without protection also. So as midah keneged midah, he didn't care about the protection of the other person's wife and children. Midah keneged midah, Hashem took his way. That's how the Ritba explains this Gemara. Now again, it's a little bit interesting because at the end of the day, like we said, the mezuzot are always the obligation of the current tenant. So why am I obligated to provide for his safety, his mitzvot, and his protection? For what reason? Anyway, whatever it is, Maran Zechron V'chai explains that at the end of the day, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the person who moves in to put up mezuzot, and for that lapse, I am responsible for the person's protection. At the end of the day, in order to avoid this, Maran Zechron V'chai says, let's say a person does really have very nice mezuzot. The halacha is that a person is allowed to remove the nice mezuzot from his doorpost and send it to a sofer to be checked. Immediately upon taking it off, you should first find basic mezuzot, basic kosher mezuzot, and put it up immediately right after you take off the mehudarot. Then, once you put up the regular ones, you send the nice ones to be checked. They come back kasher, then you don't have to put them back up. You can take them with you and affix them in the new house. That is the only way for a person to take his mezuzot mehudarot with him on the way. Now, nevertheless, the Shulchan Aruch rules, let's say I don't want to do this whole thing, and I leave my mezuzot mehudarot in the house. Who's chayav for the payment of those mezuzot? The halacha is that me, as the person who's moving out, I'm allowed to seek payment from the new tenant for the mezuzot that I'm leaving him. Although I may not be allowed to take it off, but he's still benefiting from the fact that I leave a mezuzot, and he's chayav to put up mezuzot, I'm allowed to be tovea payment from him. Now this all applies in Eretz Yisrael, where you know that the next tenant, or in Chutz La'aretz, if you know for sure that the next tenant is going to be a Jew. If you are living in Chutz La'aretz and you're sure, or even if you're not sure, but chances are that the next tenant is going to be a goy, the halacha is, says the Shulchan Aruch, you are allowed to take the mezuzot with you so that to protect the mezuzot from falling into a situation of disgrace, so that they don't just take them off and throw it out or who knows what. So over there, only in that situation would you be allowed to take it off and take it with you in order to protect the kedusha of the mezuzot. Have a wonderful day. Shavua Tov.